This lab is going to look at finding the slope from equation of a line. And let's see if we can, and then it talks about x-intercepts and y-intercepts. So let's get rid of that one. And let's make this larger. Okay, now we can see that this line has negative slope because as I move from left to right, I'm going downhill. So already I'm knowing that m is going to be a negative number. And there are special points on a line if they exist. One is called the y-intercept, and the other is called the x-intercept. So from their names, the x-intercept is where it intersects the x-axis. So this is our x-intercept. And that point has coordinates 15, 0. And as its name might suggest, the y-intercept is where the graph, where the line intersects the y-axis, if that happens. And the coordinates of this point here are 0, 3. Okay. So let's see, let's talk about the slope-intercept form of a line. And it's when you have it written in this form, y equals m times x plus b, where m is the slope. Now b is going to turn out to be the y-intercept, the y-coordinate point here. So let's see how that works for this one. Let's see if we can write the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. Okay, well, we have 2 points. Let's get the slope. So if this is and just take as they come from left to right, this is my first point. This is my second point. So the slope is going to be the difference in y coordinates, so 0 minus 3, divided by the difference in the x coordinates, 15 minus 0. So I'm going to have negative 3 in the numerator and 15 in the denominator. Now that will reduce to negative 1/5. And again, as I showed in a previous video, you can put in negative 3/15 and then press math and enter, and it gives it to you in reduced form. So I have the slope. We said it was going to be a negative number. And y is equal to the slope plus b, where b is our y-intercept, so plus 3. And, sorry, that should be an x there, not an m. Let's go back and see what we did with the lab. Okay, so we have that the x-intercept is 15, 0, the y-intercept is 0, 3. And then we have the different forms of the line. And we've just talked about the slope-intercept form. Now, if you're asked to find the slope and you have a line that is in another form, you're basically going to be changing it into slope-intercept form. Okay, so if we're asked to find the slope of this line, it's already in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. And you can see here that the slope is going to be -2. You can read it straight off when it's in that form. And also, when it's in slope-intercept form, you know that the y-intercept is going to be 0,5. And slope-intercept form is what you need if you're going to put it into your graphing calculator. So you press this y equals button, and then they supply the y, and you supply what's on the other side. So -2, and then right here, this button that starts with a capital X, and then +5. Then do a zoom 6 if you want to get it in the standard viewing window. And as we can see, we said the slope was -2. It definitely has negative slope. Going left to right, it's going downhill. And its y-intercept is at 5. So that point there is 0,5. And if you wanted a list of the points, then what you do is you press the second key and the graph button. And this gives you a set of points that are on that graph. And you can see the x-coordinate is 0, the y-coordinate is 5. So 0,5 is on the graph. And you can scroll this up or down, and it gives you a list of points that are on the graph. Okay. All right, so that's easy if it's in slope-intercept form. But what if it's in one of these other forms? So in this equation, you have one point, the point slope form, and the slope. So you're not given 2 points. You can get the point and the slope from that. But let's have a look at this second one. If you're asked to find the slope, now here's what students will mistakenly do. Students will mistakenly think that the number multiplied by x is the slope. That is only true if it's in slope-intercept form. So if I'm going to find the slope for this, I need to get it into slope-intercept form. So let's add 3 to both sides of this equation. So that will go away. And then distribute this through. So 3/2 times x is 3/2 x. 3/2 times 2, well, the 2's cancel and I get 3. Now, the slope that I have it in slope-intercept form is the number that's multiplied by x. And so the slope will be 3/2. Let's have a look at we can see that the slope is 3/2. Okay. Now be extremely careful. Find the slope for that. Okay, I can tell you the slope is not 2. It's only the number multiplied by x when you write it into slope-intercept form. And this is not in slope-intercept form. So to get it into slope-intercept form, you have to get y by itself on the left-hand side. So the first thing you need to do is to subtract 2x from both sides. Then to get y by itself, you're going to need to divide everything by -7. So the -7's will cancel. -3 divided by -7, the negative signs cancel and you get +3/7. And -2x divided by -7, the negative signs cancel. And you get 2x over 7, which is the same as 2/7 times x. And if you want to put this in the proper order with the x term first, so 2x over 7 is the same as 2/7 times x, and then +3/7. Now it is in slope-intercept form. Now it's the number times x that will be the slope. So the slope is 2/7. And let's compare that with the notes. Here we go. The slope is now easily seen as 2/7. All right, let's look at example 4, and let's see if we can answer this question. Suppose you have the equation of a line and you want to know if the points are on the line. Well, if the points are on the line, they will satisfy the equation. So let's look at this one first. So your x coordinate is 1 and your y coordinate is 2. So if I plug this into the equation, instead of y, I write a 2. And so if you get equality, then the point is on the graph. And so instead of x, I'll have 1. So over here I have a 2. And over here I have 2 plus 11, which is 13. And the answer to this is no. They're not equal, and so this is not on the line. The point 1, 2 is not on that line. Now, what about this point? Again, that will be your x value. That will be your y value. And if you plug it into this equation and it's true, then that point is on the graph. So over here we have y is -3. Will that be equal to 2 times, oh, sorry, y is not -3. Y is 5. And will that be equal to 2 times our x value, which is -3, plus 11. And this is -6 plus 11, which is +5. And so yes, when I plug it into the equation, I get a true statement. And so yes, that point is on the line. All right, so let's go back to that example. Okay, so 1, 2, we have x equals 1, y equals 2, but when you plug in, you don't get equality, so that's not on the line. But for -3, 5, when you plug it in, you get equality, and it is on the line. Now, suppose we've been asked to find the intercepts for that equation. All right, so we need to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Well, an x-intercept is where the graph comes into contact with the x-axis. And what we know about a point on the x-axis is that the y-coordinate will always be 0. No matter what the x-coordinate is, the y-coordinate will always be 0. So to find the x-intercept, you put y equals 0 in your formula and solve for x. So I'm going to have 2x minus 7 times 0, because I'm going to put y equals 0, equals -3. So that's 0. So 2x equals -3. Divide both sides by 2. And x is equal to -3/2. So that is where my x-intercept will be for this line. Okay. Now, if I'm going to find the y-intercept, well, what does a y-intercept? It's the point where it intersects the y-axis. Now, what can we say about this point? I don't know what that specific y coordinate is, but the x coordinate is always going to be 0. Any point on the y-axis will have the x coordinate be equal to 0. So to find the y-intercept, what you want to do is put x equal to 0 in the formula and solve for y. So I'm going to put x equal to 0 in that formula and solve for y. So that's just 0. And so I can write that. And now to find y, I'm going to divide both sides by -7. So I get y equals, and the two negative signs cancel, and I get y equals +3/7. So that's where the y-intercept would be. So this line would look something like that. Now let's check this. Okay, so you can see that verifies what we did. Up here, this line, that same line, if I want to see the graph of it, I need to put it into slope-intercept form. So if I come over here and I want to look at the graph of that, I'm going to come back here, clear that out, and I'm going to do 2/7 times x plus 3/7. And I'll do a zoom 6. And you can see at -3/2 and +3/7, it's very, very close. I might want to change my window. So instead of -10 to +10, which is the standard window, I might take my x value and my y value from, now let's make it -2 to +2, ditto for the y value. And now press graph. Okay, so here's our x-intercept, which is -3/2, 0. And here's our y-intercept, which was 0, 3/7. So we can see that there. Okay, if you want a video that has more examples to look at, I've put a link in there for you. So you can also access that if you want to see some more examples. So that ends this video.